Life has a strange way of throwing challenges at us when we least expect them. My name is Emily Parker, and I live in Denver, Colorado with my husband, Michael Parker. For nearly 15 years, we had what many would describe as a picture-perfect marriage. We had a comfortable suburban home, 2 children, Olivia and Daniel, and a life that seemed stable and ordinary. But behind that outward perfection, cracks had already begun to form, and one night, my husband said something that shook the very foundation of our marriage. It all began during the spring of last year. Michael and I had been drifting apart. It wasn't dramatic or loud, but more like a slow fading of color from a painting. We rarely argued, but we also rarely connected anymore. He spent more time buried in his work at the software company where he was a senior manager, while I spent most of my energy balancing the kids' school schedules, household responsibilities, and my part-time job at a local bookstore. For months, I felt invisible. Michael would come home late, often after dinner, and his phone seemed to take priority over everything else. Whenever I tried to talk about us, about how I missed the closeness we once had, he would wave me off with the same response. "Emily, I'm tired. Can we talk later?" But later never came. Then came the night that would change everything. The unexpected suggestion. It was a quiet Thursday evening. The kids were asleep, and I was sitting in the living room, sipping tea and reading a novel. Michael walked in, looking unusually tense. He sat across from me, his hands clasped, his eyes darting toward the floor as though searching for courage. "Emily," he began slowly, "I need to tell you something. And it's going to sound crazy." I set my book aside and looked at him carefully. "Okay," I said, my voice steady. "What is it?" He hesitated, then let out a deep sigh. "I think I might be falling for someone else." The word struck me like a thunderclap. I felt my chest tighten, my breath catch. For a moment, I wasn't even sure I had heard him right. "What did you just say?" I whispered. Michael leaned forward, his face full of shame. "There's a woman at work. Her name is Rachel. It hasn't gone anywhere, Emily, I swear. But I feel something, and it scared me. I didn't want to hide it from you. I wanted to be honest." My hands trembled as I tried to process his confession. A storm of emotions swirled within me. Anger, hurt, confusion, but also a strange sense of relief. At least he wasn't hiding it anymore. "You're telling me," I said slowly, "that you have feelings for someone else, and you thought it was a good idea to just drop it on me like this?" Michael rubbed his face with his hands. "I know it sounds unbelievable, but I couldn't keep living with the guilt. I don't want to lose you, Emily. I want us to work through this." The silent battle within. That night, after Michael went to bed, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Every memory of our marriage played through my mind like an old movie reel. The way he had proposed to me in Central Park, the birth of our children, the family road trips, the quiet evenings we once shared. How could all of that now be overshadowed by this confession? But somewhere deep inside, I realized this was not just about Michael. It was about us. For years, we had stopped watering the garden of our marriage, and now weeds had begun to grow. The following days were filled with tension. We moved around each other carefully, speaking only when necessary, our words guarded and heavy. Olivia and Daniel noticed the change, though we tried to hide it. Seeking the truth. A week later, I told Michael we needed to talk. We sat in the kitchen, the afternoon sunlight casting long shadows across the table. "Michael," I said, my voice firm, "I need to know the truth. Is there something going on between you and Rachel, or is this just in your head?" He shook his head quickly. "Nothing has happened. I swear on everything I love. But yes, I've been tempted. She's been kind to me, she listens, she makes me feel seen. But I never crossed the line." His honesty cut deep. Part of me wanted to scream, to throw something, to demand why I wasn't enough. But another part of me recognized a painful reality. I hadn't been listening either. I had been so consumed with routine, with motherhood and responsibilities, that I had neglected the marriage just as much as he had. Turning point. Instead of ending things in anger, I made a decision that surprised even me. I suggested therapy. "Michael," I said, "if you're serious about saving this marriage, then we need help. We can't do this alone. He agreed immediately, almost with desperation. And so, the following week, we began marriage counseling. At first, it was awkward. Sitting in that cozy office across from a stranger named Dr. Peterson, we stumbled through our feelings like children learning to walk. But slowly, painfully, we began to unpack the layers of neglect, unspoken expectations, and unmet needs that had led us here. Michael admitted that he often felt unappreciated, like his efforts at work went unnoticed at home. I confessed that I felt lonely and invisible, craving attention and partnership. It was raw. It was ugly. But it was real. Rebuilding trust. Over the next several months, Michael and I began the slow process of rebuilding trust. He distanced himself from Rachel at work, setting clear boundaries. At home, he started making more of an effort, joining me for dinner, putting his phone away during family time, and even planning small dates for us. I, too, had to change. I learned to voice my needs without resentment, to appreciate his efforts, and to remember that marriage was not a finished product but a living, breathing bond that required constant care. There were still days when anger would resurface, when I'd wonder what might have happened if Michael hadn't confessed that night. But there were also moments of deep healing, moments when we laughed together again, when he reached for my hand without hesitation, when I realized that despite everything, love was still there. The lesson. Looking back now, a year later, I understand that the night Michael confessed his feelings was both the most painful and the most important night of our marriage. His unbelievable suggestion that he might be falling for someone else was the wake-up call we desperately needed. Infidelity doesn't always mean betrayal in the physical sense. Sometimes, it begins in the heart, in the quiet spaces where attention and affection should live. And sometimes, acknowledging that danger is the only way to protect what truly matters. Michael and I are not perfect. We still stumble, we still argue, we still struggle. But we are also stronger, more honest, and more intentional than we have ever been. And every time I look at him now, I remember that love is not about never falling. It's about choosing again and again to stand back up together.